We want to continue the conversation now with Cecilia Rouse, chair of the White House Council of Economic Advisors. Cecilia, glad you're with us. You know, Americans are paying more for just about everything. The national average cost of rent is up 25% from a year ago. The price of groceries way up. VP Harris even admitted today that there's no question there is still work to do. So why isn't the White House working faster? I mean, we're talking about a 40-year high in inflation right now.
Well, absolutely. Look, this is the president's #1 focus. We understand that our primary economic challenge when it comes to the economy is inflation. But there are a couple points to think about regarding this report. One, if you could bring up the chart that we sent over, is that these data reflect June. So they're backward looking. And one of the things that's a challenge in looking backwards is that, and that's just by necessity, because the Bureau of Labor Statistics collects data over the course of the month, is that when you look at commodities that are changing rapidly, such as gasoline, what we're looking at reflects gasoline prices a few weeks ago. They don't reflect the reality today. So one of the things we've pointed out, for example, in this chart, is if we go back to mid-June, which is when gasoline prices peaked, they peaked at about $5.02 a gallon. Today, they're down to $4.63, so they're down about 40 cents a gallon. We expect them to continue decreasing. That's what, if you look at oil futures markets, we expect them to continue decreasing through the month, such that we're seeing relief, and we hope that will continue. The second point is that the president is working on this. So this highlights the actions he's taken, the actions he needs to take with Congress's participation. So first, he has made a commitment to be reducing or releasing historic amounts of oil from our Strategic Petroleum Reserve. So we are currently releasing about 1 million barrels of oil a day. It's about 1% of the world market. Oil is set on a world market. And so while that is not solving the problem, it is definitely helping. Experts say that it is helping. Two, he has called on Congress to put in a federal gas tax holiday. He's calling on states to do something similar. We have to work with Congress to do so. Again, not going to solve the problem, but will definitely help. Three, he highlights that this is the time then for Congress to pass the other parts of his economic policy. That involves reducing the cost for families and prescription drugs, health care, utility bills. It means making investments so that we can transition to clean energy. It also involves reducing the deficit by increasing taxes on the wealthiest Americans, on our corporations, because not only does that make our tax code fairer, but we can use those funds. We take the money out of our economy right now, which helps with inflation, and we can reinvest it in longer-term investments, which will help put us on stronger economic footing. Finally, the president very much respects the independence of the Fed. So other presidents have tried to meddle, tell the Fed not to do what they need to do in order to bring inflation under control. This president has said, do what you need to do. I stand at your side. You are independent, and we will try not to do things that get in your way, because he understands the Federal Reserve's mandate is to control prices while maintaining maximum employment.
Celia, it's Alexis here. I just wanted to jump in and jump off what you were talking about with gas prices. I know that President Biden has sort of ripped into big oil and into gas stations recently, calling on them to lower the price of gas. He got a lot of pushback on that. A lot of those gas station owners saying, look, we didn't create this problem of record high gas prices. Is it fair for the president to be calling on gas station owners to lower the price of gasoline?
So, as you pointed out, gas is set on a global market. We understand, and part of the challenge right now is that we've got capacity constraints in refining, and so that as the price of oil comes down, the price of gas doesn't come down quite as quickly. Refiners are making up some of that difference. What the president is really doing is saying, look, during the pandemic, oil producers, other members of the fossil fuel industry received help through PPP loans and other forms of assistance through the pandemic. So it's not. He's calling on members of the oil industry not to get us in a situation where we have really socialized the losses and privatized the gains. He understands how a competitive market works. He understands. He's a capitalist. He gets that. But, you know, companies do have a choice when they're making profits. They can, when they what we call economic rents, they can choose to share that with their shareholders. They can choose to not increase prices as high. But fundamentally, he is saying we all understand we are at war. Russia has started an unprovoked war against Ukraine. It is important that we stand with Ukraine, that we try to concentrate the economic hardship on Russia. But we also understand that there has been, especially with the European ban on oil, a disruption to our oil markets. So right now we need to get through that. He is working to get as much oil on the market as possible to try to loosen up the capacity constraints so that we can bring prices down, because he very much understands how painful it is for Americans. And we want to get through this crisis and get to a place where we're back into steady growth and greater economic growth that is more widely shared.
Cecilia, if you look at the polls, though, Americans are having a hard time understanding if he does indeed feel the pain, because approval ratings are underwater right now for the president. They're sinking fast. He gets some of his worst marks when it comes to the economy. So how do we know? How do Americans, how can they believe that the economy is still his top priority?
Well, you know, this is why we're speaking with you and why the president makes an attempt to speak. And we have had cabinet members who've been out around the country. We come into this period of economic challenge, which has really been brought about because of the pandemic, through which we are not quite done with, and Russia's war against Ukraine. So those are the fundamental roots of this economic crisis. What we have come out of it, though, from the United States perspective, is we come to these challenges from a position of strength. We've got the strongest labor market, that the Fed has had to work with. If we look at the last, I think it's 40 years or so of Fed rate hikes, or the last several rate hikes, we've never had a labor market that was this strong. We know we had record growth last year. So there are many components to this economy that are strong as we face these continued challenges. Look, we understand these challenges are real. They are very real. We've been through a pandemic. We are all sick of it. We would like to get our lives back to normal. Mm-hmm. We are starting to see that in our economic markets, but we're not quite done yet. And the president is trying to, we want to get to the other side just as quickly as possible, right, so that we can get back our footing and get back to a place where we are investing in our economy, investing in our people to spark more economic growth.
You know, Cecilia, I know the president has talked a lot about the fact that he only has so many tools in the toolbox to fight inflation, but one sort of lever he's got is tariffs. And both economists and even the administration itself has said that the tariffs put in place by the previous administration on Chinese goods, if those tariffs were lifted, that would help with some of these pricing pressures. I'm wondering if President Biden is any closer to rolling back those tariffs, and if so, is there a timeline?
So the president we've been studying those tariffs. The president wants to make a strategic decision. This is part of a geopolitical calculation. We definitely understand the potential impact of tariffs on price levels. Given the full scope, the impact isn't as great as I know some of the estimates are out there. But this is definitely part of the toolkit that the president is actively considering.
All right, Cecilia Rouse, chair of the White House Council of Economic Advisors. Sure appreciate your time today. Thanks, Cecilia.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.